Value-added activities are all the steps which change the form or the function of a product or service. So, anywhere where something changes, those are value-added. In case of nuts and bolts, when we assemble that, it changes the shape. That's the value-added step. And the second point of that is the activities for which customer is willing to pay is only those activities which you should consider as the value-added activities. And the third thing here is that the steps performed correctly the first time. So, whatever you are producing, you need to do it right the first time. All those activities which transform something, which delivers something for which customer is willing to pay will be considered as the value added activities. Anything other than that, let's consider those as non-value added activities. On next slide, I will be presenting few cases and let's look at that and understand whether those are value added activities or non-value added activities. So that can help you in understanding which of these activities are value added and which of these are non-value added activities. So let's move on to the next slide. So here I have a list of activities. Let's go one by one. And as I talk about that, keep in your mind that where you would put this. Would you put this activity as value added or non-value added activities? So let's take the first case, which is repairing. So you produced something and then there was a problem, you repaired that. Whether that's a value added activity. In repairing, what you want to do is you want to deliver a good product to the customer. So should that be value added? No, that's not the value added activity, because we said earlier that value added activities are those where things are produced right the first time. Any repair, customer is not paying for those repairs. Customer is expecting that you do things right the first time. Any time, any money, anything which you spend on repairing that is basically non-value added activity for which customer is not willing to pay for. Let's look at the second case, which is waiting for previous process to complete. So there are few steps in a process, step number 1, 2 and 3. Let's say you are the operator for step number 2 and you are waiting for operator number 1 to finish the activity. So whatever time you are spending in waiting, because you are getting paid for that, whatever time you are spending for waiting is a waste. So that will be a non-value added activity. When you are waiting, that's a non-value added activity. Let's take another case where you are assembling the product, you are doing something, that's a value added activity. That's clearly a value added activity because customer is paying for that. Fourth case here is serving coffee to customer in Starbucks. So as a customer, you go and order for the coffee is being delivered to you. That's the service being provided and you are paying for that. So this also would be considered as the value added activity. Let's take another case, which is overproduction. Let's say your company is able to sell 10 pieces every day. And since you have lot of capacity, instead of 10 pieces, you say that, okay, let's produce 100 pieces every day and keep on making stock of that. Is that a value added activity or non-value added activity? Probably you might be confused here, because anyway customer will be paying for that. So whatever you produce, you are selling 10 today, but then you are keeping stock of that which you will be able to sell later on. This is a non-value added activity, because when you are doing overproduction, there are lots of problem related to overproduction, because overproduction will lead to inventory. So you will have a stock which you need to maintain, for which you need space, for which you need to pay rent. Many of these things might deteriorate over time. Some of these might become obsolete. But then if nothing else, there is a money tied up with this production, whatever you are doing this. So all that money which you spend in these activities is a waste. So overproduction would be considered as non-value added activity, because that's not adding value. That's a waste. Another type of waste here is over-processing. Over-processing is something which is doing above and beyond what customer is looking for. You might call this as gold plating. Gold plating is something where you are doing something for which really customer doesn't bother about that. That also is a waste. That also could be considered as non-value added activities. Some might say that that's delighting customer, but I would say that this particular thing which is over processing could be considered as delighting customer as long as customer is concerned about that. So once you do something above and beyond what customer is looking for, if customers appreciate that, then that's fine. Then that is satisfying your customer. But then sometimes customer even might not notice that you have spent so much time on doing something extra which customer didn't need that. That is called as over processing. So that also could be considered as non-value added activity. So what does this mean is, in analysis, you draw the process chart, how the process is being done, look at each of these activity, see which of these are value added activities, identify non-value added activities, and look at ways to either eliminate that or at least reduce your non-value added activities. So that way you can save money, you can produce things faster, you can deliver better things to your customer, you can make your environment safer, whatever your Six Sigma project is. But then looking at the value which you provide to the customer can definitely help in achieving your objective of Six Sigma project. So these were two lean tools we talked about here. Now in the next lecture, let's talk about another tool which is FMEA. And what is that? Let's learn about that in the next lecture.